Hey there, this is LaQuita with QuitaBugHandmaids.com. Thank you so much for joining me today for another Stampin' Up! Tutorial. So today I have a pretty Christmas card to share with you featuring the Evergreen Elegance stamp set. I really like this set, and there is a coordinating punch that goes along with this stamp set. It's this punch right here. It is a nice border punch. So I'll put the name of this punch on the screen because I cannot remember it right now. So I've got everything I need here to get started. So I've already die cut a piece of white cardstock using the stitched rectangle dies. So hopefully you can see that nice stitching around the edge. I love those dies. Let me bring in some scratch paper. I love using the Stamparatus grid paper for scratch paper. It's just the perfect size. And then I've got my old olive ink pad here. I'm going to start by stamping the large tree image. So I'm going to ink this up and I'm going to stamp it off twice and then stamp it as close as I can to lining it up to the bottom of this rectangle. That looks good. Then I've got the medium tree here, and I'm going to stamp that full strength old olive. I'm going to try to get it about lined up with the other tree. Ooh, that was literally right on the money. So we do have more stamping to do, but before we do it, I want to get my designer paper onto the layer first. So I've got a piece of white cardstock. This is cut 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. I do have all of the measurements over on today's blog post linked down below. And then I've cut 3 pieces of designer series paper. This is from the Regal's 6x6 designer series paper. So I've got old olive, cherry cobbler, and blackberry bliss. And I'm actually going to put it in, this order. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to put these little strips on at a diagonal on this piece of white cardstock. And so I just want to start it, I want to start the diagonal about 1/2 inch from the bottom of my cardstock. So let me do right here. Let me get my blackberry. I think I want it angled. I think I want it angled like that. Let's see. Okay, and then I'm going to take this stamped layer, just trying to make sure I'm getting it about where I want those diagonals to go. So I actually think I want them to angle down a little bit more. I think that looks good. So I think that's where I want them. So I'm just going to bring in a pencil. I'm going to hold down that blackberry bliss and just draw, draw my little pencil line in so that I know where to place it once I get my adhesive on. I'm just going to use liquid glue to get these little strips on. I haven't done paper piecing. Oh, you know what? Let me put down my extremely dirty silicone mat so that I don't get glue on my desk. I'm almost out of glue. Okay, is that enough? I don't know that that's enough. There we go. And just lining that up with my pencil line. I'm actually gonna cover it, put it just a little past the pencil line so that it's fully covered. Okay, that looks good. Then I'll do my old olive. Okay, and cherry cobbler. Okay, looks good. Then I've just got my paper snips here, and I'm going to flip that over and cut off where that designer paper hangs over the edge. Okay, so now we are ready to stamp the sentiment. So I'm just gonna put this die cut back on the front one more time so that I can get the placement of my sentiment. Blackberry Bliss for the sentiment, and I'm going with the one that says, "It's friends like you that make this season so wonderful." Alrighty, and I want to put this right about here, just kind of off to the right. Oh, that looks so pretty. I love it. Okay, so let's go ahead and start putting this card together. So we have got basic white thick cardstock for the card base. This is cut 11 inches by 4 1/4 inches, scored at 5 1/2 inches. And where's my bone folder? Here it is. And this is my favorite orientation for cards because then they open vertically. I just love that. Okay, then I've got a piece of cherry cobbler cardstock. I'm going to put the measurements on the screen for you. This piece is cut just 1/8 of an inch larger than my white cardstock. So you just get a tiny, tiny peek of that cherry cobbler. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to actually add this with liquid glue as well, just because when you have that really thin border like that, the liquid glue is great because it gives you a little wiggle room to line everything up, because that is such a tiny little border. Very easy to put it together crooked. Okay, and let me go ahead and use liquid glue to put this on my card front. All right, there we go. Okay, so we got that on. Dimensionals on this. Okay, got my backings off, and we will just get this on right about, yeah, that looks really good. Okay, so got that there, and then to finish up, I have got these holiday rhinestone basic jewels, and I really haven't used these very much, actually. Actually, these are still the same ones that I bought in 2020. So I have not used very many in almost 2 years. Okay, so I'm going to use the cherry cobbler ones, and I'm just going to put 3 of these on here. So let's just get that and that, and get one right there, and I think that's perfect. And there you have the finished card, you guys. I love it. I hope that you do too. Such a fun background to just add a few pieces of designer paper at an angle like that. I think it looks really, really nice. And of course, you know I did an envelope, so I just stamped the trees exactly the same on the front of my envelope, and then I added some Blackberry Bliss to the flap, and this is from that same 6x6 Regals Designer Series paper. So just a really, really nice, pretty Christmas card. So I hope that you have enjoyed today's tutorial. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, you can purchase any of the supplies that you saw me using today over in my online Stampin' Up! Store. I have direct links to each of the products that I used today listed down below in the video description, and they're over on today's coordinating blog post with the project measurements. So that blog post is also listed down below. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that you've enjoyed, and stay tuned because I will be back very soon with another tutorial. Bye now.